So let's take a look at how we might use an iPad along with Pages to be able to design a bead bracelet and conduct this performance task from the Smarter Balance Assessment Consortium exam that will hit a school site near you in 2014. So from here on the module homepage for the 6th grade prompt related to bead bracelets, what I'm going to want to do is tap here on Performance Task at the middle of the page, and then Part A, Design the Bracelet. Once that opens, you'll see here that you're guided through the module. There's the PC or the desktop base side, but let's get down here to where we're going to talk about using our iPad. Okay, so what you'll notice is that you are able to download the Design a Bead Bracelet Pages document. What you will want to do is click that link. What will happen is the document will open with the opportunity for you to open in Pages. Here on the top right portion of the document, you'll want to tap that icon that says Open in Pages. The document uploaded there into my Pages collection, and now I have the ability to manipulate that document by opening it. Okay. One thing you might want to do right off the bat is when you open the document is hit the wrench in the top right corner of your screen and go into settings and make sure that all of the guides are turned off. When the guides are on, the text and things on the page will want to get jumbled or kind of moved all around on the page, and you won't want that, so just make sure that the guides are off going forward. Okay, so here's a brief description of what the task is outlined on the page documents. So basically we're going to use between 8 and 12 glass beads with 6 baser beads in between, with no more than 25 total beads on our bracelet. And then right down here we have what is going to be our workspace. So students or staff have the ability to come in here and, just as the prompt describes, manipulate these different beads into an actual bracelet. So in this particular case, each bead that you're looking at here on the screen for a student or staff member to be able to create their own product is an individual bead. So what we would want to do is hold our finger down over an individual bead until we get the copy-paste stuff. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy, and then I'm going to hold my finger down, and I'm going to release that until I hit paste. And now I have a bead of my very own to start my bracelet with. Okay, so I can continue to make copies of that particular bead if I were a student or staff member inclined to use a number of type A glass beads for this particular prompt. Okay, and the same can be said for type B bead, type C bead, and all the spacer beads as well. So I can bring these beads up into the workspace here and be able to manipulate them to create the bracelet that I desire or that's outlined by the prompt. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and make a few copies of beads and create a bracelet, and then we'll pick it up from there. Okay, so once the student creates their bracelet, the next part of the prompt asks them to create their pattern through alpha characters. So in this particular case, I would look at mine, or the student could tap the screen, or the staff member could tap the screen, and you could look at my pattern. You could see that I'm using an A, F, B, C, F pattern. And if you notice, by looking at that, it repeats. And you could have staff or students put commas in here as well. The commas and the lines act as a placeholder for now. So again, the student could come in A, F, B, C, F, and replicate that pattern for the duration of the bead. Okay, they can continue on down here. Again, these are just placeholders for staff or students to be able to come in and put in the ratios as the task asks for. Okay, so again, for example, in this particular case, if we were looking to do glass beads to another bead, for example. So in our particular pattern here, the glass beads are represented by A, B, and C. And then we could choose any other bead. So let's take type E, for example. And let's put together a ratio on that. So I can look in my pattern and see that I've got 1, 2, 3 A's. There are 1, 2, 3 B's and 1, 2, 3 C's. So I have 9 glass beads with 6 spacer beads. So again, I can come in here and I'm going to go ahead and delete this space holder row, and we'll say that the ratio that we're talking about is 9 to 6. We'll go ahead and simplify that. 3 to 2. So let's also say that I may want to use this diagram later in conjunction with the worksheet associated with this module, also in Pages. So what I have the ability to do is take a screenshot of the bracelet that I have created. And I do that by holding my home button and my sleep wake button at the same time. Saw there that it made an exposure, and it drops that right onto my camera roll. So when we pick this back up, we'll go ahead and insert that image into the Pages document that also accompanies this module for training purposes. So again, from the Performance Task Part A module page, if you wanted to follow this up to have students do a worksheet or staff do a worksheet related to the Pages document, you're going to follow the same steps we did to download the actual document that we manipulate. So in this particular case, this time we will download the math task worksheet, and again we will open that in Pages. So like the document suggests on the worksheet, replacing the stock image of a bracelet or beads with the bracelet that you've created. So here is that image. What we'll do is simply hold our finger down over the image and we'll get an option to replace. We'll go into the camera roll, and the last image I have taken is that exactly of the beads and the bracelet that I've created. And now I have the ability to embed that photograph right here on my worksheet document that students or staff might be working with. Okay, then I can go on and add the ratios that I calculate and all of these wonderful things that students have a chance to work on as they progress through the task. Everything can be photographed on the Pages document and then imported here into the Pages worksheet side. Students can also augment this document by adding their own text, name, things like that. I'm taking a closer look at what it means to truly have a higher depth of knowledge as we approach these performance task items. Thank you for joining us today on how to use your iPad and Pages to tackle an SBAC performance task.